Back in about 1994, I was just a new results partner, and the group leader called and said we had a meeting with the member of Congress. And so we walked into the member's office. There were 6 or 7 results partners there, and they ushered us into the meeting room. And there were these very impressive, luxurious chairs. This is my first time ever meeting with a member of Congress. I'd seen one in the parade one time. And so we sat down on these very luxurious chairs, and promptly in comes the member of Congress, first one I had ever met. We all said hello and sat down. He was dressed in a dark blue suit and a conservative tie. And I was seated straight across from him. There was no table in between to protect me. And I looked, I could see his shoes, and then his shoes, I could count the overhead lights and the reflection in his shoes. And so I was nervous. I was nervous. As the meeting began and the results partners began to talk, the only thing I could think about were my legs. Where should they be? They were, I noticed that my legs were crossed at the ankles, and I thought, now that kind of looks goofy. I should. And I crossed them at the knees. No, that looks laid back. I can't do that, so I'm squirming around, and I don't know if he's looking at me or not. Meanwhile, the meeting is going on. I have no idea what's being said. Then there was a problem with my hands and arms. And I didn't know what to do with them. And I had them folded in my lap, and I thought, no, that's schoolboy. I shouldn't do that. So I put them on, yeah, right, on the arms of the chair. And the results partners were talking about different things, but I didn't know what they were talking about. I wasn't listening. And then I did notice that the lady next to me, I think it was Anne Marie Vorbach, she was beginning her talk, and I thought, well, I've got just enough time to run my talk through my head one more time. And that's when I discovered that I didn't remember what my talk was about. Really, I mean, I was stunned. It was a blank. And I said, Lord, if you'll just give me the first 2 words, I'll take it from there. But the Lord did not respond. And so then it was my turn. Now the room turned and looked at me, and I didn't know what to say. The group leader, Bruce Underhill, said, Marshall is going to talk about the microcredit bill in the House. And I thought, oh yeah, the microcredit bill, right. Well, just a word for our group leaders. Thank you very much. I'll never forget. So I practiced this thing too much, probably. So I started talking, and it really came out good. You know, it's like I was practiced up once but Mr. Bill Bray, I asked him at the end of my talk if he would co-sponsor a microcredit bill that was in the House at the time. And he said, call back in a couple of days. And so I did, and he was going to sponsor the bill, co-sponsor the bill. And it was about $250 million, about $250 million. And a consequence of that, he co-sponsored that bill every year thereafter. We had to call him and tell him it was time to put his name on it, but he did it every year he was in office. And then I had so much luck, I was asked to invite him to co-sponsor 2 tuberculosis bills, One was domestic, and then one was a global. And that was the beginning of the United States funding tuberculosis. And that bill, that bill later encompassed AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria. And that thing, last time I took a look, it was over $1 billion. And of course, it wasn't just Mr. Bilbray, it was my results partners all over the country having success and all working together in an organized, coordinated way.